I did one time that I say, oh, hi, Miriam. And she wasn't Miriam.
Exactly.
And you're like, yes, hello, hello, because she was kind enough to continue talking, right? And at the end is, I'm Maria, just to remember you. Oh my God.
My coffee cup says,
But put
you
it in the
are
middle,
what you
though.
read.
Put it in the middle. Put it in the middle. Oh, right there, right there.
You are
Are
what
what
you
you read.
read.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
And
nice one.
then it asks,
Okay. Put it in the middle.
so what are you reading?
Oh, I love that. Well, mine is very simple today.
Oh,
It's
La
this.
vida es mejor con mucho café.
that's what I say.
I don't know.
What
We've been
about you?
arguing about that. We've been arguing.
No, yeah. No, don't believe
Not
it
too much. Not too much. Mine is very simple, and I'm going to preface by saying we're not sponsored.
We are not.
I don't think that particular,
It's a
Friend. Well, you
I
probably
think
can do
that
the
that
stars, though.
particular mermaid doesn't need any sponsoring. It's quite famous.
I know. I know. But it's a nice big cup, so that's why I like it.
Is it coffee though, or is tea?
It's actually iced water because it's still hot here.
I know. Oh,
I
I'm
know. I
sorry to
know.
hear that. Here we had a beautiful storm
wonderful.
in the afternoon. Oh, it freshes the whole thing. I opened the windows and the door, and it's really very nice windy in here, cool wind.
Very
Mm.
Very
nice.
nice.
I
And it's
cannot
it's a
open the
little,
windows right now. I
no,
can't.
no, you die.
You die.
You melt. You melt, remember?
You melt.
Yeah. Well, let's get going. What's on your minds? Is there something topic you want to talk
Oh,
about?
Oh,
okay.
all right. I
Today for
was
me it
telling
was simple.
Tia Laura that I have an appointment for the first time in my life with a
In your life.
nutritionist next Tuesday.
Yes.
Nutritionist? Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I need to pay attention to talking about the honey buns the other day of the glucose.
I'm glad that you made the
So let's see.
appointment. Yeah.
It's always nice to have that, to make that step, especially when you were not used to consult anybody as a nutrition, right? And of course nowadays so popular because they're the experts, right? And there's so many allergies on food and all these things that even though we have a lot of information through the AI, again, it's
Another
always
theme.
important. Yes, and
Well,
consult a profession.
it is. It is good to have that option. I don't know how you feel, Mom, that it feels a little more forced because of some concerns, right? Because how often do we consult a nutritionist except when there is some issue going on and we have to learn how to change the way we eat,
I
right?
know.
Very true.
But that's over there, though. Here in Mexico, they consult for everything. If they want to be on a diet, if they want to lose weight, right? If they want to make more, muscle,
So
if they want to do this, and they want, honestly, so popular.
that's good.
Ah.
Be
Yeah.
proactive, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
thing within Mexico too is that they use a lot of natural foods. And here they start telling you, have these herbs, this spice helps you, like I believe cinnamon, and I love cinnamon, helps actually with the glucose, insulin, or something related to sugar.
Mm.
Everything,
So,
yes.
but the nutritionist, I'm sure, is going to specify, eat this, eat that, don't eat that.
Yeah.
Well,
And
for
the
the
good
first
part
time, I'm
is,
going to try it.
but also she will have control of your weight, right?
Mm.
And watching that really careful, even though you feel like, I'm losing weight or not, it's really nice to have someone that says, you're on the right trend, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's good not to second guess it, right? It's good to have someone
Exactly.
who's got the knowledge to help you and who'll listen to you also in terms of what things you want to keep in some portion and what you can do in a healthy way, right? Rather than just totally getting rid of everything. So I think it'll be a good experience for you.
Completely. Oh my goodness, what
We
happened here?
lost you.
Oh my God,
That's
no,
her
no,
answer
no,
to
no,
us.
no.
She's like, forget it.
In other words, just ignore me.
I don't want to talk about this. Well,
Please go on.
here's something I came
Just kidding.
across that I want to see what you all think. So there was this article on the concept of ducking when you see someone or hiding when you're, let's say, in the store and you're really busy and you're just trying to have some moment for yourself. And then you see someone you recognize from a distance and then you hide. You quickly turn the corner and hide.
Then you put your hat on.
Right, your glasses, all of a sudden, to avoid them. The idea is that, in a lot of ways, we do that to preserve ourselves. Maybe we're in a hurry, we don't have time. Maybe we wanted a little bit of alone time, and now this sort of disrupts that. And also, if we've had a bad day or a lot's been going on, we really don't have the energy to have a great conversation with someone, right? And then it's about, do I want to try to risk having a conversation that doesn't go well? And then I feel bad about that. Or do I duck and feel bad because I hid from them? and and there is a concept, psychologists are looking at this, called aloneliness, not loneliness, because loneliness is the idea that you're alone, but you want more interaction. Aloneliness is that you actually want some solitude. You want to break from everything and you want your alone time. And so for some people, they do that for themselves, right? Because they really want some solitude. They really just want to be in their own space and they really don't want to have to interact with anyone in that moment. So I'm curious because I don't know if you've had occasions like that where you've been out shopping and you see someone and you're like, I really don't have the energy to talk to them right now, so I'm going to pretend that I'm not here.
Oh yeah,
For me,
especially
yes,
if you are kind of in a hurry, and after that
yes,
you're going to be doing something else, and you say,
yes.
"Oh, I'm not going to talk just 5 minutes. Hello, how are you?" It's probably going to be longer. I
Mhm.
need to. So probably that's one of the things that has happened to me, and said, "Oh, no, 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 I got to continue. I got some other thing to do.
Mhm.
Might not be nice, but
And after you do that, do you feel, even like hours later, do you think about it? Do you feel bad about it?
yes, I feel bad because I said, well, maybe I should have said hello, and I'm in a hurry, I need to go. But for whatever reason, instead of doing that, you say, oh, next time I need to, whatever I'm going to do. But yeah, definitely, I feel bad after.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Aunt Laura?
Well, it really depends who's that person, who the
Mhm.
person is. Sometimes you meet or you see someone that you haven't seen for a long time. And of course, if you're going to get across and you're going to approach her, for sure, you're going to have to be along talking that, how are you, what you've been in your life going, right?
Mhm.
And it's not really time to chat, I would say, on a coffee break, you know what I mean? So that's when you try to avoid, because you say, "Oh, I remember her, or I've seen her, so it's nice to see her, but I don't want to talk right now," because then you have a plan in your life, right? In that day that you
Yeah.
have to finish grocery and whatnot. But sometimes I do see people that I see oftentimes my close friends, and of course I shout from the far away, "Hey, how are you?" "Hi, what are you doing here? I'm shopping. Oh, I am too. Bye bye." Try to do fast,
Mhm.
but like I said, when you have that closeness, you are able to say, "You know what? I'm in a hurry. I'm just coming to pick up some stuff, or I'm going to go and rush, whatever." But when you haven't seen this person, that's when you want to hide. And not really because you don't want to talk to this person, but it's because, to me, it's because I have like an agenda, or a
Yeah.
timeline.
Right.
Yes.
Well, and I think like with your close friends, you probably are comfortable enough to say, "Hey, I'm in a hurry, but I'll call you later." or something to that
Exactly.
effect. The person you don't see often, for whatever reason, you may not be able to do that with. And sometimes it's hard to even say, hey, good to see you. I'm actually in a hurry, but let's make a
Yeah,
time to have coffee in a
exactly.
week or something like that, right?
Yeah, it will hurt. Maybe you will hurt her feelings or the other person's feeling like, "Mm, it's good to see you, you know." Or sometimes when you're talking to from someone, you know, about someone, and all of a sudden you get to see this person, it's like, I'm ashamed. I don't want to talk to this person. Like he hurt me.
You got caught.
Exactly. I know
Sometimes what
it
happens
happens
to
to me.
me is that I see someone from far away that hasn't really seen me yet. And I said, I should know this person. I don't remember the name.
Mhm.
And in
Yeah.
order not to have to pretend, hello, and you don't know the name, you don't
I know.
remember,
Good to
I
see
just,
you.
Ew. Yeah, you look good. Yeah. No,
That's
I
it.
know that's a whole other piece. And I've definitely been in those situations where I'm like, hi, and never say a name because I forgot the name and just, how's it going?
I did one time that I say, "Oh, hi, Miriam," and she wasn't Miriam.
exactly.
And you know, you're like, "Yes, hello, hello," because she was kind enough to continue talking, right? And at the end is, "I'm Maria," just to remember you. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I got confused. But yeah, like you said, you better don't if you don't know the name, just don't say anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. Just there's other ways to get around that. But I mean, it sounds like we've all been in that situation. I
Yeah.
think it's okay to not interact with the person if you can get away with it. It may be, some may say it's better to cross paths and say, "Hey, it's so good to see you. I'm in a hurry.
Oh,
Maybe we can chat in a week, or I'll call you to set up a time to meet or something, right?" Or like your friends, you just yell across the way and I'll see you in
hey,
a
good to
week.
see you. Or yeah, I know. But there's some friends, you know, at least for me, that they when they see you, they want to talk about everything. Oh, have you heard about this? And you're like, you know what? It's not time to
I don't
start
have
talking.
time.
No, I haven't
No
heard. I want to
time.
go home.
Well,
But it's amazing that sometimes people they have so much left, you know, time left for them, you know, that they sometimes go to the grocery store to really find someone to talk.
Exactly.
to find you. And I think that's a part of you if you're the person in a hurry saying, it's really good to see you, but I need to get through this because I have something I have to get to in 10 minutes. Let's call, because you can't give the best of yourself, right? I'm
Exactly.
sure when you're in that situation, they're talking, and you're thinking, I need to get out of here in 5 minutes. I have something else I have to do, right?
Yeah, you even haven't heard. Yeah,
Right.
you don't listen. You don't listen what they're
Don't
saying.
listen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you have something else to do. It happens to me also, like not just finding out of the blue in the store, for example, but to make a phone call. I'm not really a phone person. I like to, check with messages, talking about electronics with the texting. How are you? I love to write.
See, you
But
just the same.
when I don't know how to talk on the phone for just 10, 15 minutes. So I end up talking with a friend, for example, for over an hour on the phone.
Mhm.
So I kind of have to plan when
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down and talk. I
Oh
wish
my
I could
God.
tell,
Oh
after
my
10
God.
minutes.
It's because the way you are, that your character doesn't allow you. But me, I'm straightforward. You know what? I'm sorry. It's been
Go.
40 minutes talking here. And listen, I have a lot of things to do. Sometimes they hurt, but I don't, I mean, you have to be honest.
Yeah,
Well, it's you have to balance, right? If I make them feel a little bad now because I'm up front and say I have some things to do, I have to get off the phone now, right? But maybe we can talk again in a week, right? Then
Exactly.
you reserve the time for later to give more of your attention, right? And your ability to listen and to really be present with the conversation. But if it drags out, I guarantee you at some point, and I don't know, does this happen to you, Mom? At some point, 2.5 hours into the call, are you thinking, I really need to start dinner now, or else I'm going to be
He
feeding at
doesn't
10
say
o'clock at
completely,
anything.
night?
I'm telling
completely.
you, your mom won't say anything until the other person says, "Well, it's time to go." but it's been already 2 hours and a half.
See, I don't know what it
No,
is.
and I know that after you hang up, you are tired, you have a headache, you're exhausted. Of course.
We need to know, because even in the store, in order, I rather, not face the person. Ooh, when I see it far away, let me go because I have to, do something else. Or because I feel terrible to say, well, hello, how are you? And after a few minutes, well, I have to go. I don't know why. So I rather just not face it.
Well, and that's the whole thing too of like they say introverts and extroverts have different energy levels. Like a extrovert can be in a social situation and not feel as spent energy wise as an introvert does. But some research was saying there's really not much difference with respect to that. I think it does, they're bringing it down to this concept of we all need a period of time to ourselves. And sometimes when it's on our terms, it feels good, right? When we schedule in those contacts with friends, it's on time that we've said we're committing to this. When we're surprised, like when we see someone in the store, suddenly it feels intrusive. And that can be more energy sucking in some ways than when you say, hey, let's have a coffee date. And then at the coffee date, you're prepared to spend time with this person, right?
Exactly.
To be attentive, to be present. You might still like feel a little energy zap after that. But yeah, that's
True.
some of the thinking. And I think it's okay to set boundaries. It's about setting boundaries.
Well, you can be kind and nice to say that boundary, and the other person. See, this is what I think. Sometimes you want to be sincere, you want to be straightforward, without hurting feelings. But the other person, and that's the type of people that I really get, I have hard time to get along with. The person that get hurts for everything. When you're sincere, and you tell them, you know what, I don't have time right now for talking. Maybe like you said, let's set up some other time. Then they're hurt. Oh, you don't want to talk to me. I know. That's why I never want to call you, or things like that. And that to me is very hard to understand and to get along with this person.
Yeah, yeah, so it's not as easy with some folks. And I think that, that's probably a deeper subject for another day in terms of how you can
Yes,
I know we just had a conversation about friendships and part
exactly.
actually it might dive into this next topic that I have because I think that it's important to set healthy boundaries for yourself. It's as good for you as it is for other people. Because again, if you settle and say, okay, I'm going to interact with this person, and then you're not attentive, they don't get as good a version of you as if you would have said, okay, here we are having dinner together. We're going to have conversation, right? So this next topic, it's another story I came across. They're finding that more and more people at younger ages are having dinner earlier. And I know the meal times are different in Mexico, where you have your cena at 2, which is like the heavier meal, and then you have something light around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock ish, sort of.
Correct.
So here in the US, dinner time is usually around 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. And some people even go later than that. But I think there's more of a stigma here around eating dinner before 5 o'clock. And so this story is talking about how based on reservations to different restaurants, they're seeing an increase in more and more people choosing before 5 o'clock times for dinner. And, the joke is always like, oh, you're old. That's why you're eating so early, right? And again, aging is not bad, but that is the stigma that we have created here. And so the thought is that they're seeing this even with younger folks that, are doing this for whatever reason. So in the process of researching, they say that for sure when you get older, there's this feeling that social acceptance is less important than what's important for you. So if you prefer a earlier dinner, you're just going to do it because that's better for your health. Plus, digestion is easier when you eat heavier earlier, all those kinds of things. And so I want to know if that's your experience. Do you find like there's certain decisions you make now that maybe when you were younger, you were like, I shouldn't do that because, they'll think I'm old, where now it's like, I don't care because that's better for me. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks.
Oh, definitely. For me, for example, I realized that I was thinking about the time of dinner. I think that in Europe, because I remember in Spain, sometimes they eat dinner at 10 in the evening.
Yeah.
In some places in Europe, I'm not sure if all Europe might be something lighter. I don't know, but definitely I cannot eat, a regular food after 6, for example. So I feel very, comfortable to say because it's the truth. Now the digestion is different, is lower. So the later I can eat, something heavy is about 6 in the evening, and I try to eat earlier, which brings me that in Florida, they have in restaurants with so many people retired, they have in the restaurants what they call the early bird supper that is even cheaper. I have read in Florida, I'm sure other states maybe, but in Florida
Yeah.
they have the early bird dinner, which probably is 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I remember my dad. Remember, Anna, my dad, for instance, since he was young, probably he was 40s, 50s the most. He got really sick, right?
With
I
an
think I was
ulcer. Uh-huh.
newborn or something with an
Mm.
ulcer. Anyhow, since I remember, whenever, and they belong to a Rotary
The
Club.
Rotary Club. Uh-huh.
So they have to go to these dinners mostly at least once a month, but a big dinner, right? But I recall that my mom always have to talk to the person that was inviting or making the dinner and tell them that my dad had to eat early, earlier than 10 or earlier than 9. I mean, otherwise, showing up there and probably will be the first one to eat. So I say, Mama, that's really rude. I was thinking then, right? But now I understand why she did it and why he wanted to do it, right? Because he was really ill. So I
Well, he had
think
a
that
diet, I believe, where
he had a
certain
special
foods
diet.
he couldn't eat. So
So it was
either
really,
that
I
or
think
he
my
would eat
mom
at,
brought this.
uh-huh,
Yes.
because of
She
the
used to
ulcer
bring
he
some
had.
things.
Yeah.
Yes. So
So
yeah,
he had
I mean,
to,
for
yeah.
health issue, I think you either have these two options. Don't go to these wonderful dinners or eat at home and tell them, thank you, I'm not gonna eat today. But it will be kind of rude though too. I don't know. But for health issues, I think you have to be
Oh,
honest with you,
absolutely.
Oh yeah, for
right?
sure, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But when you're young, you don't care because if you don't have that situation, you will go ahead and eat.
Yeah, probably. And I wonder how much is them not caring versus just trying to make it easy for others, right? Because I think that's another thing too. Sometimes when you have restrictions, like I know mom, you developed allergies. I'm a vegetarian, so I always come with restrictions. But I think you sometimes feel bad saying, "Oh, I can't have this or that," or we can't go there because there's not options for me, right? And so I think there's a level of I don't want to disrupt things. But when you really have to for your health, right? You don't have many choices. You kind of
Yes.
or it's like our earlier conversation, right? Don't choose a setting where it's going to be restrictive, right? Just say I can't make
Yeah.
it to that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I think to your point, you were mentioning that nowadays you can see more young people getting this big dinner earlier or early
Mm-hmm.
birds, I would
Mm-hmm.
say.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's about the nutritional wise, boomer that is going on right now, that everybody wants to be healthy and take care of their health and being, active and exercising and nutritions and all that. So that's really good. I think that's really good. And I would say, I don't know, eating 6 o'clock, it's still good. But sometimes eating 8 o'clock or 10, a big piece of meat, for instance, I don't think it's good at all.
Well,
Completely.
yeah, well, and I'll say this, I think some young people are taking advantage of the early bird special. I would because it's cheaper. If I can do it, it's
Yes,
cheaper.
they should.
But I also think to your point about health, I think there is something about structured timing of meals. And so, for me in particular, I know I'm stick to a pretty firm schedule. I do the intermittent fasting, so my window to eat is 12 to 8. But I'm not looking to eat the heaviest meal towards the end of that period, right? Because I sleep pretty early also. And so I don't want all that food sitting in me an hour before I'm going to lay down, right? So I think a lot of that goes into people's planning. I think when it comes to social events and people who invite you to some sort of party or some kind of dinner, if it's too late, my preference is not to go because my body's not used to that. And so I'd rather say, you know what, unfortunately, I can't make it. Because it's
That's true. That's being honest.
Exactly. Because it also, I bet you one feels bad. I would. If you go to a get together and you start with, I'm sorry, I cannot have this, I cannot have that. In the poor hostess, it's well, what can I give you? Or
right.
if you have the if you get along that well, you have to say, well, if you have this and the other, I cannot have it. In like you say, being a vegetarian too, you have to see what are the options. So
Yeah.
nothing you can
not
do.
everybody understands that, right? So they don't take it good if you come, like you said, like your mama says, oh no, thank you, I cannot eat that. I mean, they will feel, I don't think they will feel good. They probably won't like to hear that,
Right.
especially when they cook the thing.
Right. They planned it that certain way and not with the idea they have to take things away. I do think there's something about this. Like I'm glad if as we age, we care less about social acceptance to some degree, right? Like feeling obligated to do things, because if we don't, then we're whatever, fill in the blank. You're too old. Why are you acting old? Which again, is not a bad thing. We're talking about taking care of our health, right?
Yes.
And I think that I wish that's something that we could take on earlier, right? Like it's okay to set healthy limits and healthy boundaries. Again, it's like the first conversation. It's just as much for them as it is for you, right? If someone wants to plan a party at 9 o'clock at night on a Friday and they have a whole menu scheduled and it's heavy and that's out of your routine and that will throw your body off, it's okay to say, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to bail out of this one. But maybe we can talk next week. We can have a chat at a dinner, right? One-on-one. Let's have another opportunity to do that,
Exactly. You might end
But
up saying, well,
let's say you go to a big event, like on a wedding. What do you do? I mean, big events like wedding and things like that.
Special events, right? I think that might be the only exception. However, I would say this, that my take, and I'm curious what other people think about this, is that when you're invited to those kinds of events, people know you. They know who you are. They take the extra piece of like, I know a handful of you have special allergies, so I want to pay attention to that. Some of you have certain dietary restrictions. I'm going to pay attention to that. And obviously, if it's a large party, right? So they can't really, they're managing the time to their own schedule, the couple is, right? And so you want to respect that. And you might have to make hard choices like, I will be there, but maybe I'm going to leave earlier than the full thing, right? I'm there to support you, to acknowledge this great event, but I also can't stay until 12 o'clock at night, right? Like I make those sort of bad decisions, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, because it's difficult. I mean, you don't want to be the kind of person that, well, I accept a dinner, but I cannot have this and that. And they may think, well, then why did you come?
Gluten-free. What? Gluten-free, please, because I cannot eat
I can't do this.
Gluten-free.
And you don't eat anything. Eat nothing.
I'm sorry.
And like certainly like a wedding, right? It's a big event where there's also a budget attached to it, right? So sometimes they can't accommodate all these special things.
No.
Right? But you're invited as a guest because you're valuable enough to them that they want you there. So I think that's sort of where the give and take is, right? Like you said, even maybe you eat something a little before you head there so that you
exactly
have some kind or have something with you that's a backup plan, if you really can't eat much of what they have for you. But don't become the one person who's like, I need to be gluten-free and this and this and this, because they're not catering to you, right? They're trying to cater to 50 plus
exactly
people.
Or you sit down at the beautiful table of the wedding or a special dinner or anniversary, and you take out your protein bar because That's not good.
That's
That's
what I
not
would do.
good.
That's what I would do. Don't worry about me. I have my
I
protein.
have my protein bar. Wait a minute. And what about all this dinner
Excuse me,
here?
the salmon is coming. The salmon is coming. No, I don't need
I
to
don't need
cancel.
salmon. Thank you. Nothing
My
with eyes.
protein.
It's difficult, yeah.
Well, and I think I'll see if I can find some things on etiquette. I think this is where,
Exactly.
you know, the rules of etiquette might
Exactly.
deviate a little bit from some of the boundary setting, because I think etiquette rules might say something else. But
Yeah.
I do think that it's important to think about, it's a balance of your own well-being and respecting the other people involved, right? And sometimes
Yes.
it's hard to make those decisions sometimes. But I think it's okay in the examples that we talked about today, sometimes to draw the line and say, I can't talk to you right now. You know, let's meet up next week for coffee, or, you know, I'm going to go to this event, but I'm going to prepare myself before I go, and also excuse myself if it goes too late for me, right? And I think it's
Yes.
okay.
Yes. It's
think
a
it's
matter of being sincere, right? And just try to be flexible, both parts.
Mhm, mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might end up, because you might end up trying like a little bit of something. I remember that Tia Laura and I went to have this, they invited us to this supper. Well, it was about 3 in the afternoon. I don't know if you remember, Laura, is with, well, I won't mention names, but so we arrived there, and the dinner is fried chicken, fried potatoes, fried something else, and we kind of, well, we don't usually eat fried, but we
That's a
did. I don't know if
surprise.
you remember.
Oh, I do, me?
Tia Laura, this
Oh,
this last time that I was in Mexico, in Guadalajara,
she
we went
doesn't
to eat with this
remember.
very dear friend, but somehow everything was fried.
So what did you do?
Oh,
I did.
okay. And
I ate some.
well, you probably ate it because you're so kind that you won't get into the I cannot eat that. So probably you ate all, but I don't know. Probably I would say this is, I don't eat that kind of thing. Like you mean fries potatoes is French fries, right?
French
Mhm.
fries.
Oh, I know what you
We
mean.
arrive in her house, and
No,
she's
no, no.
frying these things, and the kitchen is lovely. It's lovely, but it smells of everything is going to be fried.
Well, and that's a health
No,
thing, right? That's a health.
you even hear the oil. No,
Exactly.
to be honest with you, it's not healthy. For me, it's not healthy. I'll be standing up all night, and probably feel terrible and miserable. So I rather say, I think a little bit, don't put so much, just a little tiny.
That's
Well,
good. That's good.
this is the stuff that I think people can have completely opposite opinions about. So I really want to hear what people think. Like, have you just sucked it up and just stayed till midnight when you knew you were suffering, ate all the fried food because that's what they had and you didn't want to be disrespectful, right? And I know culturally, sometimes we have those informal rules, right? Like, just don't disrupt, just do it. Just
Eat it.
take it in, right?
Yeah.
And then we have these old etiquette norms that probably say that kind of thing, right? But where's the balance between healthy boundaries for yourself, especially if you
Exactly.
have real health concerns, dietary concerns, and just
Yes.
the way you've taken care of your body, right, in terms of sleep patterns and things. Sometimes you have to make those tough decisions, but there's alternatives, right? You can say, hey, I can't do this, but let's do something else next week. I want to know what people think and how they handle those, or maybe their most awkward situation where they had to
Yes.
decide, do I just stay quiet or do I say I'll pass, I have to go, or something. That
Yeah,
was good. That was a good conversation. I think it stirs up a lot of different opinions.
Let's
yes.
see what they think or what they
I
do.
hope so. I hope
First,
they can bring us some comments so we will know, how they feel.
or tips to handle those
Or
awkward
tips.
moments, right?
Yes.
Sure, for sure. If you like this, if you want to subscribe, because we do this every week and we'd love to hear from you what kinds of topics you want us to talk about too. But let's do quick
Yeah.
introductions. My mom,
Anna.
my tia.
Laura.
I'm Joanna, and we want to remind you, whether it's good, bad, or funny,
Leave it
live it
up.
Live it
up.
up.